My name is Noel Ramirez Sanchez. I am from Acapulco, Mexico, but I was raised in Omaha, Nebraska. How interesting it is to me to make somebody laugh. I think that is something really special because it's a pure reaction. You can't fake a laughter. So if you can achieve that onto somebody else, I think that's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of people like Bill Burr, any comedian really, honestly. I don't have a preference. I do enjoy the structure of a joke, especially now doing comedy gives you the perspective of how they're written. Being able to kind of identify all the parts is really fun to me. We're gonna do our best to, be relatable so that you guys all understand what we're talking about, but also throw some twists and turns in there that you guys don't see coming.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing? Welcome to Comedy Society. I'm your host, Lavetti Vegas. How y'all doing tonight? I love the diversity in this room. Oh my God, it's so nice. It's so nice. The diversity is so nice. One person I want to talk about, man, is my grandma. She's no longer here. No, she's not dead. She's in Arizona. Sorry, just in case you thought something. Grandma always believed in me, man. Great role model. Believed in me in college, everything, always. I still remember in high school, man, I was on the basketball team, and I wasn't a good basketball player. I was trash. I got no playing time. My grandma came to every game, though. 8 games straight. She could tell you what color Gatorade I was drinking, every game. Somebody asked her, which one's your grandson? That one right there drinking the blue Gatorade, end of the bench, number 15. And I just remember the 8th game of the season. It's halftime, and my grandma stands up, and she says, "My grandson is the best basketball player on the team." Now, I was embarrassed because, one, I was drinking a red Gatorade this time. But I was like, man, I ain't played, the whole game. And the parent got up, and he said, "Well, why he ain't in the game?" And then my grandma said, "It's because the coach don't know what he's doing." And then another parent yelled, "No, it's because your grandson don't know how to shoot." And then my grandma yelled, "But I got something in my purse that do." Grandma was a gangster, man. And then while we're in the huddle, the coach was like, "Whose grandma is that?" I said, "Coach, that's mine." He said, "You ain't played all game." I said, "Correction, coach, I ain't played all season." He said, "Man, we better get you in the game before somebody get hurt." He said, "I'm gonna get you in the game, but there's one thing I don't want you to do." I said, "What's that, coach?" He said, "I don't want you to shoot." I said, "Coach, if I don't shoot, my grandma will." He said, "I'll give you one shot." I said, "She got 5, so." Next game, I didn't see that parent that yelled at my grandma ever again. Yeah, his kid went to the chess team, so less violent. Always believed in her, loved her, man. Another person I love, always want to talk about is my mama. Love my mama. And she's no longer here. And again, she's not dead. She's not living here. And I just remember growing up in high school with my mom. It was tough, man. It was really tough. And she was real strict, you know what I mean? And she made me get a job. She was behind on bills, made me get a job. I was probably the only guy in high school that had a report card and the electric bill in my name. Like it's a little weird, And I started falling behind in school. Like I wasn't an A+ student, but I at least made B's. I was a decent, I was like a community college student, not a university guy, but still made good grades. But I started slipping. I failed 3 classes. My mom's like, when I got the report card, she's like, "Why are you failing? Like, what's going on? Why are you failing classes?" I said, "Maybe because of the job you gave me. Like, I had to go get a job." She's like, "But you're failing stuff that you shouldn't be failing. You're good at numbers and you're failing algebra. You're good at cooking and you're failing home ec. You're good at doing physical activities, but you're failing PE? Who fails PE?" I said, "Mom, I just don't be feeling like dressing out. Like, it's tough, working and being in school full time. It's just tough. I'm in high school, Mom." She's like, "Well, one of them got to go." I said, "Well, obviously, Mom, thank you. I'll quit my job." She said, "No, you're going to quit school." She said, "This light bill got to get paid." I was like, "Mom." She's like, if you can't dress out for gym then you can't fill out a college application. I'm sorry. I was like, man, Mom, that hurts my feelings. And she said, you know, it should, because I want you to work hard. I don't want you to be doing something that's not going to get paid much, like being a comedian. So, Mama knows best. I'm here right now. Been to Metro twice, dropped out. All right. Y'all ready for the comedian of the night? This guy right here, man, he's a good guy. He's with the Just Relax Comedy, tours the Midwest with them, does a great job. He actually hosts an open mic with another guy, Brent Bradley, which he's just as equally as great. Give it up for Noe Ramirez.
What's up, you guys? How are we doing tonight? Awesome. It's good to be here. Like he said, my name is Noel Ramirez. I will be your Mexican for this evening. Listen, all that means is if you like my jokes, you can get me a Modelo. And if you love my jokes, you can let me use your kids on my taxes. Okay? Man. I'm also part black, which is always fun to tell a room of white people. I feel like you guys don't know how to handle it sometimes. You know, like you get a guy that looks like me saying he's part black, and all anyone ever says back to me is, really? You know, then I gotta explain, like, yeah, man, turns out black people are everywhere. You know what I mean? Even in Mexico. And then they feel bad, you know, they backtrack. They're like, no, it's just very interesting, you know, because you don't really look. It's just very interesting, okay? And for the record, I know, all right? Like, I'm aware of the situation. I don't know, like, people come at me like I don't know this information. I understand that I don't look black, but just so we're all on the same page, I didn't get to vote for that, okay? Nobody asked me. I would have loved to have been tall, dark, and handsome, you know, but here we are, you know? I gotta go through life looking like the guy that didn't get the role as George Lopez, you know what I mean? It is tough. Oh, man. I do love white people. I got a favorite type of white people. Thank you for asking. My favorite type of white people. Now listen, my favorite type of white people are the ones that are just like a little bit of a different race. You know, just a sprinkle. Not because that's important to me, but because they love to talk about it. You know, we all have that friend that took the ancestry test and now he's ethnic, you know? Sitting at dinner or something. And they don't stop talking about it. They're like, actually, you know who invented silverware? That's right, my people, the Germans. And I'm like, hey, bro, that's still white. You know what I mean? Or my personal favorite, the ones that are like, actually, I'm 1/16 Cherokee. And then I gotta be like, actually, that doesn't count. You know? I'm sorry. Those people are like that equivalent of that LaCroix drink that's supposed to taste like strawberries. That doesn't taste like strawberry. That drink tastes like if you took a glass of water and then you just talked to it about strawberries for a few minutes. You know what I mean? It's not even close. I like white guys specifically, big fan of white dudes. Woo, that's right. Woo! Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan, specifically because I feel like people like to be mean to white guys for no reason nowadays. Isn't that crazy? I feel like that's mean. I don't like doing that. You know, but it is tough to be a white guy in 2022. You know, I feel like if you're a white dude today, you almost got to introduce yourself with your name and your political ideas. You know, you got to walk into a room and be like, hello, my name's Greg. Big fan of the gays. Just put it out there. And listen, I'm bored. That's a nice thought and everything, but also it's pointless, okay? Because people don't even care about a white guy's opinion anymore. Asking a white dude for his opinion is like it's like when you go to the grocery store and you get a sample and then you're like, this is my third one. How much does it cost? You know what I mean? You gotta pretend to be interested. I don't know, man. It's interesting. I have had my fair share of getting in trouble, though. That's why I feel for white guys. Recently, I got in trouble for saying the N-word to my black friend. I know. Hang on to this, okay? Hang on. So I'm hanging out with my buddy, right? We're best friends. We're at a coffee shop just talking crap. But the problem is that when you have a best friend and you sit down, what's going to happen is it's going to start as a normal conversation, and then you're going to eventually just say the worst thing you could think of to this person because that's your best friend, okay? Maybe that's just me, okay? But I'm sitting here talking to my buddy, and next thing I know, this lady's next to me, and she's like, hey, she's yelling at me. She's like, hey, you can't say that word. And I look up, and it's this random white lady. Like the type of white lady where if I told her I was part black, she'd probably be like, really? But, nonetheless, this lady starts talking to me, and she starts telling me I can't say these words. And I just think it's super interesting. It's always the same people who tell you can't say certain words. And I won't blame white people. I don't think that's fair. I blame woke people. You guys know who woke people are? Yeah, they come in every color, right? Blue hair dye, usually, but lots of others. I don't know, man. You know what was really interesting to me, what really bugged me about the situation, is that this lady didn't care about the things my friend said to me. Like, this is my best friend. It was just pure hate, back and forth, Not a word. I don't know. I don't think you guys get it. Okay, this guy learned Spanish just to hurt my feelings. I confronted him about it. I was like, hey, man, what are we doing with these Rosetta Stone books? What's going on? And I can't make this up. He looks me dead in my eyes, and he goes, because, bro, when you speak to somebody in the language that they dream, it stays with them forever, puto. I'm like, yo, this guy's way better at being racist than me. The most confusing part about this whole situation was that after she was done yelling at me, she then proceeded to try to teach me about my own culture. She was like, you're not even supposed to be called Latino. And I'm like, what are you trying to call me, Linda? She was like, no, you're actually supposed to be called Latinx. And I was like, I guess we're Pokemon now. All right. Ice is playing along, like, gotta catch him. Oh. I did a little bit of reading, right? So I look it up. It turns out Latinx is a gender-neutral term. So instead of Latino for a man, Latino for a woman, you have Latinx that covers everyone in between. So thanks, I guess. I guess that's the next problem we needed solved. Like, screw the kids in cages. Nobody knows what you got in your pants now, and that's all that matters. I don't know. I don't really have a problem with the term Latinx. I just wish I was in the room when they decided to tackle that one next. Just a guy with a clipboard somewhere. He's just reading off. He's like, all right, what's next? Gender neutral name for brown people other than Beaner. That sounds like a job for Greg. I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense. I'm not a bad person, though, contrary to what you might believe by now. I'm sexist. Okay, you got it. That's it. That's the only vice I have. I'm not even in a bad way. You guys will probably agree with me here in a second. Just hang on, all right? I say I'm sexist because, have you guys ever been to a store where they sell Girl Scout cookies? Let's say, for example, Costco, right? I think I'm a little bit sexist because when I go to Costco, I buy cookies when I walk in and when I walk out, okay? That's why I look like this. And the problem is, if I'm walking out of Costco and there's a little boy getting ready to ask me if I want some cheddar popcorn, my very first thought is, man, screw this kid. I say it with love, okay? But I'm like looking at him with his badges, and I'm like, bro, I know your parents don't say no to you enough. You know what I mean? Just teaching you a lesson. Also, what's the worst thing that can happen? I weigh the pros and cons. I'm like, all right, let's say I say no to this little boy. He doesn't grow up to beat his wife. You know what I mean? But if I say no to this little girl, there's a chance she becomes a stripper, and I'm not trying to see her every week, okay? So I'm looking out for the both of us. Any parents in here? You guys got kids? A few? Yeah, kids are cool. Not for me, but they're fine. I've thought about it before, but I've come to the realization that I shouldn't have kids. It's not that I can't. I probably can't. But I probably shouldn't also because I look like this. You know what I mean? So when I think about having kids, I'm like, yeah, man, we don't need any more Mexicans without a neck. You know what I mean? Like, we're all set. You know what I mean? I know what I look. God gave me more torso than my body could handle, and that's fine. But that's why I don't have children, right? But not everybody thinks that. Everybody thinks they should have kids. All my friends think they should have kids, right? I don't agree. It's not like the good quality of my friends that are having kids. You know, not a single doctor. It's just all my buddies that work at Taco Bell. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bud. But they're very, they're very loose with it. They treat having kids like somebody brought donuts to work. They say they have one or two, but they're going to have as many as they can until somebody says something about it. You know what I mean? friends with kids are hard to talk to sometimes too. They say dumb stuff. My buddy comes up to me the other day. He's like, dude, my kid's so smart. And I was like, well, let me stop you right there. I'm like, listen, unless he's going to do my taxes, I don't want to hear it, okay? Now, you could say your kid's a fast learner. I'll give you that. That's fine. That's not the same as being smart, okay? Because, like, my dog learned how to jump, sit, and stay in, like, 30 minutes, right? But she still falls for that fake ball throw every time, okay? There's levels, is what I'm saying. I couldn't say that to him, though, of course, right? I couldn't say that. He's talking to me. He's like, bro, my kid's so smart. I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, no, like, he's 2 grades above his reading level. Like, we're going to get him tested, see if he can skip the 3rd grade. And I'm just listening to him, and I couldn't hold it anymore. I'm just like, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Your kid drinks the dog's water. All the time. Like, he reads well because you watch Netflix with subtitles, dog. Like, he's going to tint windows when he grows up. You know what I mean? Just being honest. My other friend comes up to me. He's like, bro, my kid is killing in his 4th grade basketball league. Like, we're keeping an eye on him. We think he's got a real future in the league. And I'm like, yeah, the 5th grade league. And he just looks at me. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You don't mean the NBA. And he's just staring at me. I'm like, hey, man, you're a 5-foot-tall Mexican. You know what I mean? Like, you have to jump into your lowered truck. You don't have NBA jeans. And listen, I would never say, it's not nothing to do with the kid's ability. I would never say the kid sucks out loud. All I mean is that he's not playing the 4th graders from Martin Luther King Elementary. You know what I'm saying? I know what you're thinking. It's got nothing to do with the kid being Mexican, but it's got everything to do with the fact that he's not, talented. That kid's gonna manage a Taco Bell, okay? I just celebrated 3 years of marriage recently. That's exciting. Yeah, it's fun, man. It's fine. No, it's good. I've enjoyed it. But I remember distinctly when I was first engaged, right? I was talking to some friends, and they were like, hey, man, what do you think is going to be your favorite part about being married? And it didn't take me any time. I was like, yeah, obviously sleeping with my wife. Obviously. And then, like, a few weeks ago, we celebrated our anniversary, and a couple friends were like, what's the hardest about being married? And I was like, for sure sleeping with my wife. 100%. And I don't even mean, like, being intimate. I mean sleeping in the vicinity of her person. Everybody comes at you like, dude, marriage is so nice. It's sunshine, it's rainbows. And that's fine. I'll give you that. It is that. But it's also a lawnmower running when you're trying to sleep. There's no books about that, okay? I don't know. And to be clear, I don't have a problem with snoring, okay? I don't have an issue. It's not even a deal breaker for me. I just need a little bit of a heads up, okay? Especially if you don't look like you snore. Like, nobody asked me, I snore, dude. They go, like, some people look at me, they go, that guy has irregular heartbeats and breathing patterns, okay? That's the way it goes. I just don't, but I don't think it's fair that you can be gorgeous and forget to mention you do a mean Viking war cry in your sleep. Again, I'm not even opposed to it. Just let me know before you go to battle. That's all I'm saying. I don't know, man. My wife thinks I should do therapy. So I'm in therapy. And that's been fine. I don't know. It's been interesting being in therapy because I don't really have a whole lot of confidence in my therapist. I'll tell you, I think, why? Because she doesn't have confidence in herself. That's why. I walked in. I'm being dead serious. I analyzed her. Yeah, I did it. Whatever. I walked into our first session, right? Let's say I've been talking for about an hour. I'm telling her all my trauma, all my problems. And I'm like, yeah, so what should we do about this? And I kid you not, she goes like this. She goes, I don't know, fishing? You sure? You know what I mean? Bro, $120 an hour, you need confidence at a very minimum, okay? You need confidence, a positive attitude, and a pot of coffee so we can make this happen, all right? Come on. We wouldn't accept that from any other medical professional, right? Imagine you have a tumor, and you go to the doctor, and you're like, what are we doing about this lump, doc? And he goes, I don't know, chemo? I would hope that you guys would go to a different doctor, okay? Just genuinely. I don't know. I've been trying to learn more about myself too, trying to see, learn more about myself, but it's been a journey, right? Like, for example, I recently started trying to get my citizenship figured out, right? That's been a process. But it's allowed me to talk to people that are pretty interesting mainly because they don't agree with me, and I think that's funny. So I'm talking to this guy the other day, right, just about the citizenship, and he's complaining. He's going on. He's like, this is a terrible country. We've got so much work to do. I hate it here, this and that. And we're talking, and I go, yeah, man, I'm actually working on getting my citizenship. And he's like, oh, that's awesome, man. I'm really happy for you. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait so I can finally vote for Donald Trump. And that was his reaction. just like that. So I confront, I'm like, what's wrong, dude? What's wrong? Why can't I vote for Trump? Why? I'm like, because I'm brown? And he goes, man. I'm like, say it. You could say it. He's like, yeah, because you're brown. I'm like, well, it's racist if you say it. But, and I know it's fine. I get it, man. I get it. Listen, man, it turns out I'm what you would call a brown Republican, okay? Similar to a white Republican, but when I say the N-word, I roll the R, all right? It's the only difference. You guys are bad, dude. Oh, man. You know what's real bad for your mental health? Talking about therapy. Social media. You guys on social media at all? Oh, man. I'm trying to get off. I'm trying to work my way back, get off of it. But it's not easy. I had one of my friends come up to me the other day, and he's a real emotional dude. And he comes up to me, he's like, yeah, man, I'm super bummed. I'm like, what's going on, buddy? He's like, man, I made this post about anxiety in public bathrooms, and people keep laugh reacting at it. And I'm just listening. I'm a good friend, so I'm just like, yeah, man, it's pretty funny. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and he got upset. He was super mad at me. He's like, how could you, man? You're supposed to be my friend. I'm like, I'm just being honest, bro. I'm like, that's hilarious. I'm like, oh, I can't poop. I was like, get out of here, dude. Like, you wouldn't have survived when we lived in tribes. You know what I mean? That's where my mind goes. Whenever I think of like society, that's where my mind goes. Because think about it. When we used to live in tribes, nobody knew who the weakest link was. Right? We were all wandering around, bumping into trees, and like hoping it wasn't us. And you didn't know if you were the weakest link until somebody finally got like jacked by a leopard. And then you were like, yeah, the fat guy who picks berries. I should have known. But up until then, you didn't know. That's not the case today. Today, we know exactly who the weakest link is. Find a post about anxiety in public bathrooms, and then go to the list of 100 people who liked it. And right there, a list of 100 people you could easily feed to lions without consequence. I don't know, man. I've been trying to pass the time watching more documentaries. That's been fun. I saw one about sea turtles recently, and I realized that I don't really care about sea turtles that much. I don't. Because I'm watching this documentary, right? And in the beginning, the first thing they do is they cut the sea turtle open. It was dead. All right, but they cut them open, and inside the stomach of the sea turtle, they find 7 pounds of plastic. My first thought, I'm like, God, that's crazy. That's terrible. You know what I mean? Like, this is terrible. Well, my second thought was, are we just going to assume that this sea turtle represents every sea turtle? Like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know him personally. Like, maybe this was just like a terrible sea turtle. Maybe he just made bad decisions a lot. You know what I mean? He woke up that morning, had a pound of plastic for breakfast, and was like, I think I'll have 6 more. I don't know. Or maybe he was just had a bad personality. Maybe the sea turtle like beat his wife or wore sweatpants to Walmart. You know what I mean? Just like he ate the plastic because he's garbage too. You know? Like, or there's a chance this was deliberate. It's a classic case of sea turtle suicide. Okay? A sea turtle bank was foreclosing on a sea turtle home. He had no way out. I don't know if that happened. I couldn't tell you. It didn't go that deep. I'm just saying. Shouldn't lump everyone in. Because we don't do that with people, right? We don't lump people in. We don't find a guy that looks like a bunch of other guys and we're like, oh, you guys must be the same. You know what I mean? We don't do that. Imagine if we did. Imagine for a second this documentary I saw. It's not about sea turtles. It's about fat Mexicans, and I died. Okay? And they're getting ready to cut me open. And then right before they cut me open, they look at the camera and they're like, this is what all Mexicans are like. And then they just start. And like the first thing they pull out is like a jar of salsa that's not that spicy. You know? And then they find like the certificate of none of my children, because I don't have any. And then finally it's like a vote for Donald Trump. And then, dude, Mexicans everywhere would be pissed. I'd be like, we didn't sell corn on the cart for this. I don't know, man. I had somebody come up to me the other day, and they were asking me dumb questions. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really like dumb questions. I'm not a fan. Here's what this person come up to me. I had never met this person in my life. They just stopped me in the middle of the street. They're like, hey, do you believe in women's rights? And I was like, that's a dumb question, man. That's like if I was like, hey, you believe in Mexicans? They're a thing. Mexicans and women have actually a lot in common. You know, we both had to do a lot of marching / walking and swimming to get where we are. But I say it's a dumb question because it doesn't matter what I answer. The outcome is the same. Somebody could come up to me right now and be like, hey, do you think women should be able to read? And I could say something terrible like, only cookbooks. I would never say that, okay? But if I did, you guys could still read. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm saying. I don't know. I know I'm dumb. You know how I realized that I'm real dumb? I went to the gun store the other day, just looking. Relax. No, I go into the gun store the other day, and like 2 seconds into being in the gun store, I realized I probably shouldn't have a gun. Because I walk in, and something you should know about me is that I am very dumb, okay? Like I make a lot of mistakes, and I am rarely listening, okay? So I walked in, and this guy starts yelling rules at me, right? And what he said was, rule number 1, you never pull your gun out unless you're gonna use it, right? Which just means you never just pull a gun to flash somebody. Makes sense, right? But as we've established, I'm an idiot, okay? So what I heard was, hey, no matter what happens, you pull your gun out, you gotta shoot somebody. Obviously, that leaves me in a bad spot, because now I'm like, well, God damn it, who do I shoot? I'm like, well, it depends where you are, I guess. I mean, but here's the problem is, listen, I'm a big dude, but I've been known to be startled before, okay? So what happens if I say, I don't know, I go bowling, okay? After I purchase this weapon, and I'm just walking around minding my business and somebody rolls a strike, and I immediately just, I'm like, no, not again. And I realized it's like my little cousin. I'm like, rules are rules. You know what I mean? Like, but I made this big post, right? I posted on Facebook. I'm like, I love my mom, da-da-da. It's probably like 3 paragraphs. And this guy comments under it. This guy I work with. And he goes, well, you didn't really make that trip. And I was like, what? I saw him at work the next day. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I'm just saying, if your mom carried you all the way here, then you didn't really make that trip, did you? And I was like, well, I mean, if I didn't really make that trip, then my back isn't really wet then, is it? You guys have been great. That's my time.